welcome back to my channel. It's Sayria Jade, and welcome to the first episode of my growth series. We're finally doing this. This is something that I've been talking about for a long time, and I'm very excited because a lot of you guys had questions about hair growth, and I'm going to throw everything into the series for you. I have tons of ideas, and I'm really excited. I hope you guys are excited about it too. So during this series, I will be touching on everything from hairstyles to products to tips and tricks to do's to don'ts. Everything that has to do with hair growth I will be touching on during the series. I'm not sure how long the series is going to be, but I can tell you that videos will be out every Friday regarding this series. So today's video is going to be a very basic and fundamental video. I'm just going to be going over a few keywords that I will be using throughout the series just so you guys understand and know what I'm talking about, and I will also be going over the growth cycle. So a few words you are going to hear me use during the series are hair follicles, hair shaft, and sebum. So if you aren't familiar with what the hair follicle is, basically it has two distinct structures. It has the follicle and the shaft. The follicle is a part of the hair that resides beneath the scalp, and the shaft is the part of the hair that resides above the scalp. And what sebum is basically the natural oil that your hair produces, which keeps your hair healthy and smooth. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, we are going to dabble a little bit into the hair growth cycle. So at any given time, a random number of hairs will be in one of three stages of the hair growth. The first stage in hair growth is anagen. Anagen is the active growing phase of the hair. Basically what happens is this phase is a new hair is formed and it pushes out the old hair. During this phase, the hair grows about 1 centimeter every 28 days. And scalp hair stays in this active phase of growth between 2 to 6 years. Now, just because the hair grows about 1 inch every 28 days does not mean that there aren't things that you can do to speed up that process. And during this series, I will be showing you a number of things that I do to speed up that process. Phase 2 is the catagen phase, and this phase is basically like the transitional stage. And about 3% of all hairs are in this phase at any time. This phase lasts for about 2 to 3 weeks. Now the last phase of hair growth is the telogen phase. The telogen phase is the resting phase, and it usually accounts for about 8 to 6% of all hairs. Now this phase lasts for about 100 days for the hair on your scalp, and even longer for your eyebrows, eyelashes, and hairs in other areas. During this phase, the hair follicle is completely at rest. If you've ever pulled out a piece of your hair and you've seen at the root there was like a white solid tip, that is when your hair was in the telogen phase. This is also the phase in which your hair will shed to prepare for the anagen phase, and so on and so forth. So it's a cycle. Also during the telogen phase, about 25 to 100 hairs shed daily, and it is completely normal. During this series, I will also be touching on shedding and breakage, but just know for the most part, shedding is completely normal, and you might tend to see a little bit more shedding with curly hair than straight hair, and I will touch on that a little bit later in another video. So that is basically a very fundamental example of the hair cycle and what each phase does. Very fundamental. We're not going to go into too much detail, but just so you guys get an understanding and you know a little bit more about the cycle in which your hair grows. So that is it for this week's video. I hope you guys learned something, and I hope you guys will be back next Friday for episode 2 in this series, and I can assure you next week's video is going to be way more exciting. I'm actually really excited about next week's video, so I hope I see you there. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.